MIA issue. To you, a very special thanks for your many continued years and efforts to keep alive the remembrance of our missing in action heroes whose fate go mostly unknown. I thank you. At the end of the Vietnam War, there were approximately 2,583 unaccounted for American prisoners missing or killed in action, body not recovered. As of March 14th, 2018, the Department of Defense lists 1,600 Americans as missing unaccounted for. 90% of them in Vietnam or in areas of Cambodia and Laos were Vietnamese during, where they had operated during the war. As of this date, we now have 39 missing from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Today, I would like to start by sharing a story of a Marine veteran, Robert J.C. Todd, a man who grew up in northeastern Massachusetts. Robert served in Vietnam in 1967 as a private first class. His MOS was 0311 Rifleman. Upon arrival to Vietnam, he was assigned to 2nd Battalion, 3rd Marine Regiment, 3rd Marine Division. On May 9th, 1967, elements of 2-3 Marines started a patrol from Hill 881 north. As they neared Hill 778, the brush became dense to follow their intended line. A path was found that sloped down into lower terrain, leading 2-3 into a V-shaped gully. After advancing about 100 meters, it became obvious that the high ground to the north and south meant their western line of advance could be flanked from the high ground on both sides. Sensing danger, the main elements of 2-3 climbed the south slope to high ground, where they quickly engaged by the NVA, the North Vietnamese Army. The NVA were crossing the gully from the south to the high ground on the north side of the gully. The NVA were expecting 2-3 to continue in the low terrain and were intent on flanking them. If the NVA occupied the high ground to the north, it would give them a field of fire at the Marines engaged on the southern high ground. First platoon was sent to the northern high ground. The north slope was in the tall elephant grass. First platoon engaged the NVA on the high ground near Hill 778, and Robert J.C. Todd was killed in action. It is believed that he was left behind in the elephant grass as 2-3 was extracted with their KIAs and their wounded. This bracelet I wear, Robert J.C. Todd, 9 May 1967, Republic of Vietnam, encourages me to continue on with this remembrance, the events that honor and show respect to those who made the ultimate sacrifice, and to educate those who believe freedom is free. We gather here to remember those who served our nation as heroes on that day that isn't noted on calendars. But this day is remembered in the hearts of hundreds of thousands of Americans. They are those who served our nation as prisoners of war and the families of those who went to war and never returned. Their fate mostly unknown. We commemorate POW MIA Recognition Day by remembering the sacrifices made by those brave Americans who were taken prisoner and then returned, and those who are listed and missing in action. As we all know, uncertainty is an inescapable part of military service. The turbulence usually associated with military life puts enormous strains on our servicemen and women and their families. From World War I to the peacekeeping efforts in Bosnia, Somalia, more than 142,000 Americans have been held as prisoners of war. Today, there are nearly 90,000 U.S. servicemen still unaccounted for from World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and the Persian Gulf. As a group, they remain in our memory on this hallowed day of reflection. But for the families of those missing, they are remembered every day. They are remembered in what they meant to their family members. What was lost in the lack of a final resting place. It is on a special days like today that we are given some understanding of the terror and dedication to life that these great Americans endured in the service of their country. Every person who has worn the uniform and fought the battle understands the nature of sacrifice. But as a nation and a people, we owe a special debt of respect and gratitude to those who were captured and yet remain and maintain their faith in our nation and our ability to bring them home.